Welcome to Tutorial 2, Getting Started, for the Redevelopment Framework for Former Service Stations in the Province of Ontario. This tutorial provides an introduction to the online framework and the framework diagram to help you navigate through the basic aspects of this valuable tool. For additional information on the framework, please refer to the other video tutorials available on the framework website. This is the entry page of the framework. It welcomes users to the framework and provides direct links to the main components, including the framework diagram, the 4 stages of redevelopment, the guiding principles and best practices, and the various tools included in the framework. It also provides a link to a more detailed introduction and instructions on how to use the framework. Since this is our first time using the framework, we're going to go to the introduction page. This is the general introduction page. On the right side, there is a list of frequently asked questions regarding the framework. There are links to the tutorials, contact information if you have any questions, and links to additional guidance on how to use the framework for municipalities and property owners and developers. We will now look at the Municipal Introduction page. The Municipal Introduction page provides guidance for municipalities using the framework. On the right side of the page, there is information on why municipalities should use the framework to help encourage the redevelopment of former service station sites in their community. It also directs municipalities who are just beginning to think about brownfield redevelopment to the Ontario Municipal Brownfields Redevelopment Toolbox, available at aboutremediation.com. On the left side of the page, we have a series of questions to help guide the municipality through the framework and show them how the framework can address their particular situation. When the user responds to each question, they are given suggestions about where they should go to get information that will help them. For instance, the first question asks if you have typical former service stations in your municipality. If you answer not sure, you'll be directed to either the key element, Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment, to learn about how brownfield sites in your community can be identified, or to the definition of typical service stations to determine whether or not the former service stations in your community are considered typical. There are also questions addressing the redevelopment potential and the current stage of redevelopment that will direct the user to the sections of the framework that address their particular situation. In order to navigate through the framework, there is a menu bar located at the top of the screen. From this menu, you can access information about the framework, including the guiding principles and best practices, the framework diagram, the 4 stages to redevelopment and the associated key elements, and all of the tools that are included in the framework. We'll now take a look at the framework diagram, which illustrates all of the key elements along the path to redevelopment and how they relate to each other. The purpose of the framework diagram is to present all of these key elements in a way that shows where they fit in the redevelopment process and how they link to other key elements. It's the backbone of the framework and contains all of the key elements along the path to redevelopment. These key elements are divided into 4 streams: financial, technical, land use planning, and external communication, and are further separated into the 4 stages of redevelopment: setting the stage, evaluation and planning, implementation, and management. Each one of the key elements is linked to additional information, including descriptions of the key element, best practices, tools, case studies, and other resources. For example, clicking on the key element Early Planning Tools, you can see information on how municipalities can encourage the redevelopment of former service stations through the use of early planning tools. Best practices and tools are highlighted in these boxes, as well as case studies and examples, and additional resources. This concludes Tutorial 2, Getting Started, for the Redevelopment Framework for Former Service Stations in the Province of Ontario. For additional information and guidance on using the framework and the tools contained within it, please refer to the other tutorials available on the framework website.